Alright, welcome back to the RazorwireReviews Podcast number 4. It is the 10th of February 2014 and it's currently 5 minutes to 5 p.m. I'm actually knackered. I just finished a workout and so I thought it would be interesting to do a podcast at this point in time. Yeah, I got my water bottle here. You'll probably be able to hear me drinking. Nothing like cold water after a workout. Now, I'm not a guy who's ever really worked out that much. In fact, I remember when I was a kid, my mum had a videotape, probably, I don't know, Mr. Motivator or something, and she was going to do this 60-minute workout. And I was really excited to do it with her, and I had a towel ready. My mate Matthew from upstairs was going to come down and do it, and for some reason, we were an hour late to because I was playing in his house where he lived directly above us. We came downstairs around 4 o'clock and my mum had already finished doing the workout and I was devastated. I've no idea why at such a young age I was so excited to do this stupid little workout, but I missed it and I remember feeling really sad. And then I didn't do any exercise for probably, I don't know, the better part of 20 years. I mean, I really need to get into shape and that's why I'm kind of getting on this thing. Very stereotypically, at the beginning of the new year, I decided to make a concerted effort to lose some weight. Now, whenever I say to someone I need to lose some weight, generally they'll either say, yeah, you need to, or yeah, you don't need to. I need to. I really do. I got a beer gut that makes it seem as though I drink alcohol when I really don't, and I need to get rid of it. And I also need to be healthier, and so that's kind of the direction I'm going in. Connie, my fiance, she's also trying to lose some weight. I don't think she needs to, but she wants to get I don't know, a bit more toned, I guess you could say. So she's signed up to a gym. I haven't got the money to do that, so I've been doing some stuff at home. Now what I've been doing is yoga, specifically DDP Yoga or YRG Yoga for regular guys. Now yoga's kind of this thing that I think men are kind of like, oh, it's a bit of a pansy thing, you know. I'd rather go down the gym and pump some iron, man, and, you know, work out, take a Instagram picture in the mirror, you know, flex my muscles, tone my abs. I don't know what kind of accent that was. I don't think it even was an accent, was it really? Just generic kind of meathead. You know, my mate used to call them t-shirt boys back in Wales. Just those guys, you know, who would just, like, live in the gym, just get these absolutely massive chests and pecs, and they just go into Primark and buy a £3 t-shirt that's about 3 sizes too small, and you just end up seeing this ridiculous, like, you can imagine what it looks like. And if anyone is a wrestling fan, there's a match in which Vince McMahon wore a referee shirt that was about 4 sizes too small for him, and something like that is what these kind of t-shirt boys used to look like back in the day, and I'm sure still to this day as well. But I'm here in Norway now, so I don't see too many of those people knocking around because I don't really go out that much. I'm in here doing yoga, and the yoga, I mean, I think DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, former professional wrestler, and now he's, you know, very entrepreneurial with his kind of motivational speaking and his yoga stuff, which is really taking off now, which is great for him. I think he's changing people's lives. I'm not someone whose life is going to be changed by this. Well, it will be, but it's not like a complete makeover, you know. I'm not one of those guys who is just completely overweight and is an absolute mess, but it is going to make me healthier and lose the weight that I need to lose, I think. I've been doing it for 5 weeks tomorrow, and I've been doing it inconsistently, you know, every few days or so, changing up with the workouts, getting used to it, and I'm happy to say it's getting better. You know, there's these lunge movements which I just couldn't do at the beginning because my knees would just burn so much. And I used to wrestle. I used to backyard wrestle, for anyone who doesn't know, for about 5-6 years, through most of my teenage years, and sometimes I'd wear knee pads, sometimes I wouldn't. And that sometimes, well, a lot of times I get thrown on my back and on my neck, and you know, it's safe to say I've ruined my body over the years. I haven't had backaches as much as I used to, but it's still a problem. My knees, again, it's very difficult to kind of just go down on my knees and put pressure on them because it just hurts too much. But this DDP Yoga is designed to be low impact, you know, cardio workout, you know, or not specifically cardio. I mean, it's stretching. I mean, I don't know all the technical terms. I'm not really into this, to be honest. I'm just doing it right now, but you know, getting more flexible in your body, having a more healthy body, I guess you could say, and the cardio is definitely part of it as well. Getting your heart rate up and burning off that those extra calories. So I've been eating a lot better as well, which is horrible. I mean, just absolutely dying for Coke and crisps and chocolate and hot dogs and burgers. And the thing is, every weekend we've kind of had a day where me and Connie, where when we went to the TGI Fridays a couple of weeks ago, and I was kind of amazed that even with kind of a day where we go a bit mental, I'm still losing the weight, you know. I mean, I think I gained about a pound or two over this past weekend because we kind of stretched it a bit this weekend. So I'm looking forward to kind of just pushing through this week and getting back down to the weight I was at last week, because I'm enjoying seeing the progress. And I took a before and after picture from the beginning of January and the beginning of February, and it's not a huge difference, but you can definitely tell, you know, my stomach's gone down a little bit, and that's encouraging to me. That was my problem. I'd always start working out, I'd always start dieting, and then without a weighing scales or seeing any immediate change, I'd give up and I'd crumble. And a lot of that is due to the fact that I used to work in Tesco. Every day, you know, every working day I would be surrounded by food. Every working day I'd go on my break and have the option to buy a chocolate bar, or to buy a bag of crisps, or to buy a can of Coke, or a bottle of Coke, or, you know, and, you know, then these offers would come out, you know, this for £1, and, you know, how can I pass that up? And then I get that, and that's how over the past 3 or 4 years I've kind of steadily increased my weight, I guess, or I've gained weight, sorry. So yeah, I think I've been rambling on for this a bit too long, but yeah, it is what it is. But I'm finding some of the moves easier, you know. At the beginning, my gut was really getting in the way of doing some of these like twists and stuff. It's not too kind of complicated. It's mainly just using your body and kind of just flexing all your muscles while you're doing these things, and just really getting your heart rate up without really doing that much, and just standing still is something of a workout. And I really like what DDP's done with it. He's making it kind of cool for men to do it, I think. I mean, I don't really care about cool anyway, but yeah, I'm enjoying it, even though I was absolutely destroyed just then when I did a mere 23-minute workout. But I'm enjoying it. It's good. It's good. So that being said, there's a few things I want to talk about this week, or this episode, and I've been thinking about, you know, how often should I do this podcast? I don't want to say I'm going to do it weekly, because I might do it more than once a week. I don't want to say that I'm going to do it weekly, because I might do it once every 2 weeks. You know, it's as and when I want to do it, really. So yeah. Now, before I get on to the second segment of the podcast, which will be the movie talk, I always say, well, I only did one podcast, but I've said, and I will always say, that if you have any questions you'd like me to answer on this podcast, then tweet me at RazorwireRyan, or just leave a comment on the YouTube page or on the WordPress site. Now, I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name, but we talk all the time on the YouTube comments, and we tweeted back and forth a couple of times this week. And we were talking about flying over to America, getting stopped, you know, at the airports and stuff. And I said I'd talk about this story of me getting stopped in Norway. So it happened twice. The first time was it was both in the exact same place, in the Trondheim airport, and I got stopped. I got pulled aside, and I thought, it's just a routine check. So he's going through my suitcase. He's asking me all these questions, and you know, I said, well, I got my girlfriend lives here, and I'm just visiting her. He's going through my suitcase, and there's loads of wrapped presents in there. This was January of 2011, and I had loads of Christmas presents from my family and from myself for my fiancée, Connie, or my girlfriend at the time. One of those presents was a kind of pink teddy bear, and there was a bow around its neck, and on that bow on the end was an engagement ring. And that's how I was going to propose to her. I was going to surprise her with a seemingly normal Christmas present, which would turn out to be a proposal, you know. And I was really excited about it, very nervous. And of course, he picks up that one of all the presents, and he's like, "What's this?" And I'm like, "Well, it's a teddy bear." And he's like, "Well, I'm going to have a look." He opens it up, rips the packaging off. He has a look at it, and he's like, "What's this? This ring?" And I'm like, "It's an engagement ring. I was going to ask her to marry me." And his face just kind of dropped, and he didn't say anything. And he went on, he opened a couple more presents, and he was like, one of them was like this USB controller. It was modeled off a Super Nintendo controller. You plug it into your laptop and you can play Super Nintendo games. And he's like, what is this? I'm like, it's a controller. controller, as if I was speaking this foreign language. He could speak English, and he rattled it around a bit, and then he was scanning stuff through the machine, and then he realised I had nothing, nothing untowards on my possession, so he kind of looked really embarrassed then, and he picked up the teddy bear in particular, and he kind of looked at it, and he went, "Do you want some tape for this?" And I was like, "Yeah, that would be good, thanks." So I had to tape that back up, and I went on to propose to Connie later that evening. And now the second time I got stopped, this is when I thought, oh, come on now. And it was the next time after that time as well, so it was directly, the next time it happened. And so I said, "Is there any reason you pulled me? Is this random, or something? I look dodgy or something?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, random." Okay, all right. So I brought my PlayStation over this time, or our PlayStation, and he's rifling through my suitcase. He picks up this PlayStation. It's one of the old ones, and he's looking at it, and he goes, "PlayStation, you like the game?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he said, "Not the slim version." And I'm like, he's having a go at what kind of PlayStation I've got here. This is ridiculous. And of course, I brought all the PlayStation games. There's about 10 of them. And all of Connie's Xbox games as well. So I had about 25 cases there. He went through every case. He went through every page of every manual, looking for God knows what, scraps of weed or something, I don't know. And then he had this big fat, security woman came over, and she had this kind of baton strapped to her waist, and she had a hand on it, ready to act as if I, kick off or something. And I'm just like, this is ridiculous. I'm just stood here, cooperating completely, being really polite and nice about everything, explaining why I'm here. And then suddenly he kind of like, well, he didn't grab me, but he said, "Come here," and he shined this light in my eye, and he was like, "Are you on drugs right now?" And I'm like, "No." And then he was like, "Have you ever taken drugs before?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't." And then he kind of just smirked at me as if to say, "Yeah, right, you got long hair, I'm sure you've taken drugs before." And then, there's nothing they could do, so they just let me get on with it. And it was just, every time I go through that airport now, I'm just like, is this going to be another one of those times? So yeah, I've had a bit of trouble getting into Norway a couple of times, and hopefully we won't have any problems when we go to America, although, especially for me being the first time getting into the country, I'm sure I'll be asked a lot of questions, so yeah, hopefully that'll go smoothly. But it is what it is. So next up, we're going to talk about some movies, and I may or may not throw in a little podcasty kind of jingle here. Let's see if I came up with anything. It's time to talk movies. Well, I'm sure that was underwhelming, but there you go. It's time to talk movies, and I haven't actually watched that many movies recently. I did the last Friday film reviews episode on Friday, and a few people said it was, they did still enjoy the series, but I think it was the right decision to end it, and I could do some different types of videos. But ever since I stopped that, I've really just not really watched that many movies. Over the whole weekend, we didn't watch anything until last night on Sunday. We watched The Two Towers, the extended edition, and we watched the extended version of The Fellowship of the Ring last Sunday. So we're kind of every Sunday watching The Lord of the Rings, and it was the first time I'd seen The Two Towers in its extended cut, probably since it came out 10 years ago. And it'd be 11 years ago now. And yeah, it was a slog to get through, I'll be honest. I love The Lord of the Rings, but for some reason I just kept falling asleep, nodding off, and I was just like standing up, and I was holding a glass of water in my hand for about 20 minutes and sipping tiny bits from it just to kind of have something for my body to do to keep awake. I had a banana, and I spent about 15 minutes eating that. I stood up for a while, as I mentioned. I mean, it was just, it was tough to get through. I do love the film. I feel like the extended version of The Two Towers, though, is it kind of exacerbates the issue I have with the film, which is that it starts out really strong, and we get these great scenes with Frodo and Sam and Gollum, or Smeagol, which at the time was revolutionary. The way that they created that character was just fantastic, and definitely looking at it on Blu-ray now, this is the first time I've seen the film on Blu-ray as well, in HD, on a 50-inch TV, Gollum's not as impressive. I mean, he's still impressive, but you see the little lines around the edges, and some of the rotoscoping is a bit more obvious than it was on DVD, and I think the Lord of the Rings films as a whole suffer a tiny bit from the Blu-ray, but you got to remember how these films are getting old now. You know, they're 13, 15 years old, at least when they started filming the thing. But there's still moments of sheer brilliance in some of the special effects, again, particularly Gollum. But my issue with the film is that once you get to the middle of the film, it really kind of drops out from the Frodo and Sam story, and we just get a lot of the Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli and Merry and Pippin and Treebeard and Saruman and Wormtongue. I mean, it feels like for half an hour at a time, the Sam and Frodo storyline gets dropped completely. And of course, in the book, The Two Towers, I mean, it's very... I mean, you literally get the one side of the story in the beginning, and then the next part of the story in the second half of the book is completely cut in half. You don't get any interweaving storyline, which is basically what they tried to do with the film. And in cutting out, you know, the whole Shelob's Lair segment, which happened at the end of the Two Towers book, they pushed that off until the beginning of the Return of the King movie. So it just feels like towards the end, the second and third act of the Two Towers, that the Frodo and Sam storyline kind of gets spread a little too thin for my liking, and the extended scenes again only exacerbates that issue, which we get a lot of almost unnecessary scenes at times. I mean, I think 42 minutes was added into the extended cut of Two Towers. There's a great scene with Sean Bean and as Boromir, which I think is not essential, but is very important to add some more dimension to what happens in Return of the King with Denethor and Faramir. Add some more dimension to Faramir in the Two Towers, as well as he remembers his brother, and it's the only time we get to see Boromir and Faramir interact, and Boromir and his father as well, and we really get to understand the relationship that Faramir has with his father, which is again is integral to one of the main plot lines of Return of the King. So I love that scene. There's a couple in there with Merry and Pippin, which Connie just she was just at the gym, and she just knocked on the wall to the rhythm of a song from Rayman Legends, a game we play. That's how weird we are. We knock on the wall to the beat of a video game theme. But yeah, so she's coming in now, so I guess I'll wrap up this part. The third part of this, the wrestling segment, I'm going to try and get Connie to join me on. But yeah, I still love the Two Towers, but it was a hard slog to get through at times. And but I still loved it, and I love that the Helm's Deep battle is just so epic and really kind of toes the line between fun movie magic moments and a big battle scene, but it kind of harkens back to the old war movies, you know, makes it feel really important and serious, and kind of examines the horrors of war and all that kind of thing. And I really do enjoy Two Towers, but yeah, some of the extended scenes work, some of them don't, but I still love it, and I'll probably always watch the extended version because the more the better. But last night I was just really struggling for some reason. As I was saying, oh no, I wasn't actually saying, I was thinking about something. Yeah, I was actually going to say something in the beginning when I was talking about me working out and stuff, that as much as I feel better in doing the yoga, it's kind of, I still need to work on my energy, because going to sleep late, which I do a lot, always leaves me kind of quite lethargic in the morning. So, you alright? Yeah. I'm just recording a podcast. Oh. So I'll just finish it up. I won't edit that out either. Yeah, so I feel like it's hard for me to go to sleep early sometimes, and it is a case of just staying up late. But then other times, like last night when I was I think we started watching the Two Towers at 7-8 o'clock in the evening, and I was really struggling to stay awake. When we finished it and I went to bed, wasn't sleepy at all. I mean, it always happens. I get this thing where I just can't sleep sometimes. So yeah, I think if I sort that out somehow, then I'll be feeling a lot better, energy-wise, as well as kind of yoga-wise or body-wise, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, that kind of links in with the whole working out stuff from earlier. So yeah, I'll try and segue into a bit of a wrestling thing now. There's two things I want to talk about. A WrestleMania project I'm working on, and Mick Foley. So if all goes to plan, I'll just put in another crappy jingle and we'll carry on with the podcast.
It's time to talk wrestling.
Okay, it's time to talk wrestling now, and I've got Connie joining me, drinking some lemon iced tea. How is that?
Delicious.
Delicious. I have my is it blueberry and you don't even know what the other one is.
Granatäpple.
Granatäpple. And what is that?
I don't know.
Obviously it's something apple.
Some kind of fruit.
Yeah. Well, I have squash anyway, you can hear the ice probably. And yeah.
Pomegranate?
Pomegranate.
Oh, yeah?
Palm grenade. A grenade.
That's how
for the
it's
palm.
spelled, isn't it?
No, pomegranate. P-O-M-E.
Yeah, pomme means apple in French.
Really?
Yes.
Right, okay.
I think. Or is that potato?
This is something to look up after the fact.
Pomme free. Pomme.
I love the fact that we're sat here recording.
Well, that's what it is. That's the fruit.
I love the fact that we're sat here recording this. You're sitting on the sofa where you normally sit. I'm sitting on the other end of the table on the floor, and Lily is sitting where I usually sit, just as if she's part of the conversation as well.
Oh, she is.
And she's very smugly sitting there, and she's waiting for a treat. There you go. Lily's part of the podcast now.
Yeah.
And she doesn't really want to talk about wrestling. She just wants to have a treat. So we'll get on with it. 30 Days of Mania is a video series I'll be debuting in March. Every day up until WrestleMania 30 happens on Sunday, April something or another, 2014. I forget the exact date, but every 6th. You sure?
Yes.
Okay.
That's WrestleMania Sunday.
Yeah. So for 29 days until WrestleMania happens, there'll be a video every day on my channel, my YouTube channel, of me and Connie sitting down and talking about a few of the matches from every WrestleMania. So we've been sitting down and watching 1 to 2 matches generally, although today we watched 4 matches from WrestleMania 8.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of just like a refresher for me, and there's also some things I haven't seen, and a complete history lesson for Connie as well. So how have you been enjoying that so far?
It's interesting. I'm glad I'm getting to know some of the older legends that I never even knew about before, including, I'm kind of embarrassed to say, but I didn't really know anything about,
Who?
Mr. Warrior.
Ultimate Warrior!
Yeah, I didn't want to say that, but
Hulk Hogan!
since it's going into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of cool to see all his WrestleMania matches, and
Yeah.
of course Hulk Hogan as well.
Mm-hmm.
Really, 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 really hoping that he'll be at WrestleMania.
You really hoping?
Yeah,
I wasn't sure whether you were
really
really hoping on
yeah,
that,
yeah.
or just hoping. Also, yeah, I was quite surprised actually that you seem to be quite enjoying Hogan just in general.
Well, it's Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan. Matt Damon.
So yeah, we're up to WrestleMania 8. I'm trying to convince Connie to do WrestleMania 9 tonight, but she's not having any of it. But really, anyone who's a wrestling fan knows there's nothing really to WrestleMania 9. I love it for what it is because of just how terrible it is, but I love the location as well. It's probably one of my favorite WrestleMania arenas. But yeah, it's,
Where?
I think it's in Los Angeles, but it's like an outdoor arena. It's like, but it's quite a small one as well. It's quite unique, and Caesar's Palace or something. It's like Casino Caesar theme thingy. All the commentators wear togas and like Roman clothes and stuff.
I think I've seen parts of this.
You must have.
Yeah, that sounds very.
And it's definitely the Undertaker's worst match, not just at WrestleMania, but period, in my opinion. Absolutely terrible. Against a guy like who's on par with Great Khali for sheer terribleness. So yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Something to look forward to.
No, I think we'll just take a pass on that one and just watch the main event.
I think we have to watch it.
Why?
Is it short?
Well,
We can sit through it. I want to see all of Undertaker's
challenge cautiously
denied.
accepted. Yeah, challenge denied. So yeah, the real reason. Well, I've just mentioned why we're doing it to kind of bit of a refresher and stuff, but also because we're going to WrestleMania 30. So are you excited for that? I know I am, obviously, but
you have to ask me that.
I'm asking you for the sake of the podcast, for the sake of conversation and interesting
Luke,
discussion.
I spent 14,500 kroner for it, and that's just for the tickets.
No, but
of course I'm freaking excited.
But I did mention on the previous
You're
podcast.
being subtle, no swearing.
Yeah. I did mention on the previous podcast that where we were going and stuff very briefly. So obviously we're not just going to WrestleMania. We're going to like New York, and
I'm excited about everything.
Yeah.
And WrestleMania, I'm so glad we're doing that last because it will be like
exhausting.
it will be an amazing finish for the trip.
Yeah, that's true.
We will be going to New York for 2 more days before we leave, but that'll be great because we'll,
Yeah.
will have sat back and like, okay, right, so we're going home. Oh, we should have done this thing in New York. Oh, we're going to, yeah, or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course I'm excited. I'm excited to see everyone. I'm excited to see The Undertaker. My hopes are way sky high for seeing Hulk Hogan. I kind of hope that Batista's going to break something on himself, not on anyone else. Same with Del Rio and other people that I don't like. And I know it's not going to happen, but I'm still hoping that CM Punk will come back.
I think it's a possibility, but I can't see it happening. I see him being too stubborn and pissed off to even consider the idea.
Yeah.
You know.
But, who knows?
Well, anything's possible, but yeah.
What do you think, Lily? Yeah, I know, right? You'll get it afterwards.
Anyway, so that video series will be coming soon, and we'll probably finish it just before we leave, I guess. But one more thing I wanted to add before we round up the podcast was I wrote an article about Mick Foley about 3 years ago to get onto a wrestling website, like a column website, the John Report. It's now known as the John Report Wrestling. Still going strong. So I wrote there for a couple of weeks and I ended up leaving. But the article I wrote to get on there, there was like a kind of a writer's search. It was called Mick Foley's Redemption, and I wrote about Mick Foley coming back out of, from retirement in 2004 at WrestleMania 20, and how it was not as good as it could have been, but how he redeemed himself the month after with one of his best matches ever at Backlash 2004 with Randy Orton. And I was really happy with the article and everything, and I did try and send Mick Foley himself a link to it on Twitter, but I don't think he saw it. Flash forward 3 years, which is now. I was going through my blog site and kind of rebooting it, mainly to put this podcast on there. And I noticed the article, and I thought, I remember that, it's quite good. So I read through it, edited it a little bit, added a new ending, and then I tweeted it out, and he saw it, which was really cool. And he sent me a message saying that he thought it was great, and thanks for writing it and stuff. And then he tweeted it himself, and that's when I got like about 1,300 views in one day, which is pretty cool.
He's awesome.
He is, yeah. I just wanted to mention that he's really kind of fan friendly, interacts with people. And do you want to share the story of when you met him?
Well, we met him at this stand-up comedy
thingy
that he did.
Yeah.
And I drew a picture of him, had him sign it. I gave him a copy, because that's just what I do. They'd probably bin it afterwards, but still. And he was really cool about it and all that stuff. And
you halted the line for about 5 minutes. You was just like,
no, it wasn't that long.
No.
Maybe 3.
Yeah.
But everybody got like at least 2. I didn't spend that much longer with him, but it was cool. And later on, I can't remember if I well, yeah, obviously I did. I put it on Twitter,
which you never used.
Well, I don't use it anymore, but I was using it a little bit back then.
Yeah. Because
I saw that you could interact with celebrities,
wow,
so I tried myself.
That was 2 years ago now, thinking about it. It was February 2012.
And he retweeted it, and he sent me a personal message saying that it was great. And that was awesome.
Yeah. And,
well, that's not the first time you gotten a message from him, is it?
No.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. But he also tweeted out a link to the, remember you put up like a work in progress thing on your...
He put up my blog.
Yeah. And you had like a picture of like when you started it, the outline, and like as it progressed.
Because he seemed curious. Well, he said he was curious about how I did it.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, here you go. If you wanted to see how it was made, here's the drawing. And also proof that it was a drawing,
Yeah.
Because usually I get a response, oh, so you photoshopped it.
Yeah.
Because I can tell that it's not really completely a photograph, but it looks different, but it looks photographic. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so I convinced them that it's been drawn. No, he's really cool.
Yeah. So that was a cool thing this week. And I don't know if you just noticed, but Lily just yawned very widely. So I think we'll bring this
I
one
can wake
home.
her up.
Yeah. That's teasing her now. She's teasing Lily with a empty treat wrapper.
It's not empty.
Isn't it?
There's
Oh!
stuff in it.
Alright, I thought it was empty.
You want it? Bye-bye. No thank you or anything.
She just picked it up off the table and walked off with it like she always does.
She's so ungrateful.
She's very ungrateful.
Mm-hmm.
What a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we even have her?
Oh, come on. Come on.
Alright, anyway, so we'll just wrap this up now, and Connie's gonna go and play GTA 5 more than likely.
You say that as if I'm going into a different room to play it. It's right here.
No, I know. No, I just mean you're entering the world of Los Santos, and
Oh, yeah.
you'll be blowing up shit for a couple of hours.
Well...
Or are you going to carry on with the missions?
I think I'm going to do the missions, but hopefully I get to blow some.
You're catching
up
with me. I'm surprised.
I am.
You're really near the end of the game now.
I'm skipping through stuff because you just played it a few days ago or so.
Yeah, when I was playing through the main story, you were kind of watching the cutscenes and stuff. So you're able to blast through some of them.
Yes.
Alright, well that's it then. Thanks for listening. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for joining me, Connie.
No problem.
No problem.
Where's my money?
Your money? You know I haven't got any money. Not yet, anyway.
Awkward!
Alright,
Bye-bye.
thanks for listening.